Time now for the news review section of this broadcast. Stay tuned. Welcome to the news review. I'm Preston Lee. South Korea and the United States have started annual war games after they were delayed due to the coronavirus pandemic for a second time last week. The pandemic has also forced Washington and Seoul to significantly scale down their drills. That especially happened after virus cases rose in South Korea over the weekend. The two sides have said that the exercises will focus mainly on computerized war simulations. The United States and South Korea had also canceled their springtime maneuvers due to the pandemic. Meanwhile, the ongoing drills are expected to draw an angry reaction from North Korea. Pyongyang sees the joint war games as a preparation for invasion. Now let's get some insight. Joining me will be Jennifer Chang, our own correspondent in Seoul, and also Jason Unruhe, political commentator, who is joining us out of Ontario. Great to see you. Let's go to Seoul first. Jennifer, Pyongyang says this is preparation for war. What does Seoul say?
Seoul is saying that North Korea might attack, and so they have to prepare with the United States for a possible attack on South Korea by North Korea, and that's why they are doing this computerized training, these war games. However, most experts say that North Korea will never attack South Korea because that would be suicide. That would prompt a nuclear attack by the U.S. The U.S. covers South Korea with a nuclear umbrella. And so it's not surprising that Pyongyang is suspicious about the motives of this computerized drill. Now, this is a 2-week drill that started this week and will end at the end of next week on Friday. The first week will be devoted to training on how to stave off a North Korean attack. The second one will be how to counterattack. That means taking over North Korea, invading Pyongyang. And not surprisingly, North Korea is seeing this as a dire threat, as an invasion rehearsal. They have also said today that tomorrow they are going to hold a plenary meeting, which they haven't held for months. And they will then be discussing how to fighting efficiency. So now that these drills have been announced, they are going to be very angry, and it will be interesting to see how this affects their plenary meeting tomorrow.
Okay, let me turn to Ontario. Jason, let's have your take of this. You know, computerized or whatever way, this is what Pyongyang considers to be provocative. Is this the right move at this time?
Well, I would certainly say that it is not the right move to make at this time. It's very clear that even COVID as a threat alone would be reason enough to cancel this. I mean, South Korea definitely carries out, multiple war game simulations a year, so they already know what they're doing. They know what they're going to do in case of an invasion or to invade the country, etc. So I think that this is just a part of the usual saber rattling with the North that's completely unnecessary. Holding this off during COVID would be the right thing to do because it's not wholly necessary to carry it out at this specific time. But the fact that they're going to push ahead with it anyway, it definitely shows that they want it there as a demonstration of power. At least that's how I personally see it myself. But as for the entire situation in general, it's very strange that with all the goodwill that existed last year between the two countries that had been building since the Olympics had taken place in Pyeongchang, there were so many positive signs. There were meetings that were friendly. There were positive discussions, opening of joint ventures, kind of thing, and it was all something that now seems to be sabotaged.
Exactly. I was just going to, you raised the point I was just going to ask you about. I know all those meetings, a couple of meetings between President Trump and Kim Jong-un, and then first they were calling each other names, and then President Trump fell in love with Kim Jong-un, and then All that rapprochement and good friendly ties between the two Koreas, what happened to all of that?
Well, essentially, it just got all thrown by the wayside. It was nothing that seemed to be of any substance to the United States. Donald Trump came in all happy and smiles, got to be, the first president in however long to step foot in the DPRK. He got his photo op. He got all this positive press for, supposedly being on a road to peace, and then absolutely nothing came of it. He made promises that there'd be a reduction in sanctions against the DPRK, which never ended up coming. So the whole thing was just a gigantic act of theater, and I'm wondering if that was maybe Trump's plan the entire time, or at least the plan formulated by the foreign policy advisors for the United States. And at least from the viewpoint of the South Koreans, it seemed like it was something that was very positive, something that they wanted to go for. It was very popular among South Korean people to be pushing this peace. It pushed the approval rating of the South Korean president, through the roof, dealing with this whole situation. Now it seems to be entirely sabotaged. It almost seems like the South has given up in this situation on trying to create as friendly a situation as possible. It seems like maybe it was almost even sabotaged by the United States.
Okay, we're waiting to see what the results will be. Thank you very much. We had Jennifer Chang, our correspondent from Seoul, and Jason Unruhe, political commentator, who joined us out of Ontario. And thank you for watching this edition of the News Review.